Last thing I want to talk about, Rvssian. This man Rvssian, yo, as the weeks go on, I realize how much of a legend he really is. Like, we're just not aware because we're not from there. But he did an interview recently. I was watching it before this, and I'm gonna watch the whole thing. But there were snippets that got put out um, of him talking about it, and so he says that the next Rihanna album is gonna be a dancehall album, and he says that he already got paid for the work that he did on the album. So it's locked in. It's not like one of those things where they get it done and they pay him on the back end. If they paid him already, that means it's definitely coming out. Um, and I want to get more into the impact of a potential Rihanna dancehall album in a minute. But there were two other things I thought were interesting. It was mentioned that uh, I didn't know that Shenseea was signed to Rvssian. So basically, they're in a joint. Interscope is in a joint venture with Shensea's label, which is Rich Immigrants, and he is the owner of that label. I didn't know that until recently, but he said that they haven't talked in 2 years, and it has to do a lot with the direction that Shenseea decided to go with her career. Um, Talking to Caribbeans, a lot of people are not disappointed, but they want the old Shenseea, the dancehall Shenseea back. But Shenseea has come out and said that she's trying to go more in a pop R&B direction because she was tired of dancehall, which she has every right to do. But I think personally, as somebody who got introduced to her very recently, I would prefer dancehall Shenseea too. And in this interview, Rvssian said the same thing. He was like, sort of, this is not what people want to hear from you, and this is sort of not where we started working together on. But Shenseea was pretty dead set on doing the pop thing, so they haven't talked in that long. But he says anything she's ever done since then, or anything like budget wise she's needed, he's cleared, which I think is respectable. Even though he doesn't agree with it, he's like, "Yo, just do your thing." Um, but this interview is actually very interesting and starting to see like, bro, he's done so many records. Like the record that broke Bad Bunny in the States. I forget the name of it, but I'm gonna find it. But I guess he produced that. It was him, Farrakhan, if I think his name is right. And then the features on that, like on the remix, were Nicki Minaj, 21 Savage, and Travis Scott. That was a song that broke uh, Bad Bunny over here to like Americans. Let me find it. Oh, Crispy Cuppy, I think it's called. Oh no, Crispy Kush. That song was annoying as fuck. If you go to Miami, it's gonna be in any reggaeton set. But I fucking hated it. I hate the hook. Bad Bunny's hook on there is annoying. But that's the song that made him big. But he was talking about a bunch of other songs he's made, bro, where like he's produced for everybody. Sean Paul, Vibes Cartel, Bad Bunny, um, Future, Moneybag Yo. Like he has a lot of people on his production credits that I was not aware of. And I just thought it was a good interview. So if you're into like listening to him and his story, I think it's something you should definitely check out. Also, from a perspective of like, bro, there are a lot of non-black people in Jamaica. Like whether or not it's acknowledged in media, like there's communities of these people. Like there's a lot of them, but they're Jamaicans. They're Jamaicans still. You know what I'm saying? If they're born there, they're raised there in that culture. It's like they're still Jamaican. It's just they're not black. And so even the interviewer, if you go watch this, to me, the interviewer is sort of approaching him or communicating with him in a type of way of like as almost like he's an outsider. That's the vibe I get from it. Where it's like, bro, you're Jamaican, but I don't know. Like if you go listen to a couple of minutes of it and just see how he's talking to him, like there's a little to me it feels like a little tension there. And I can imagine like the community of non-blacks and the community of blacks there, like there probably has to be some like, and I feel like that's in any neighborhood or any community where it's like the minority and the majority, there is some disconnect there.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought that was interesting. And I watched like 25 minutes of it. But I wanted to ask you, I talked about it on here last week how I think the reason that dancehall isn't as big as like an Afro beats has a lot to do with how they're speaking the patois and how thick it is for a lot of people. If Rihanna, somebody who has dabbled in that world but has a clearer accent to Americans, does a dancehall album, what do you think that could do? Not even here, just globally.
I think it would play into the change that's already going on. Like I feel like having another American act hop on an international sound would push it farther than it could with just the normal people who are usually on it. Like I feel like bridging that gap with a person like Rihanna, as big as Rihanna, knowing that everybody's been waiting for a Rihanna album, I think it would do crazy numbers, and I think it would change a lot of how music is sounding. Like I feel like more people would start to go in that direction, see how it's digestible, and be able to find those artists that work for them so they can understand it. Like I feel like, yeah, like you said, the patois is kind of hard to understand sometimes, but I feel like once you get through that, for me, always sonics are the big thing. Like I'm trying to find another word in 2024 besides sonically because I hate that word. But I feel like sonically, music, you should be first listening to how it makes you feel, how the sounds are, and then if you can get into the words later with some stuff, I feel like you should. But there's with stuff like this, I feel like dance hall, it's a lot of dance, it's a lot of movement, it's a lot of what you feel with it, not what you're hearing with the words per se.
Yeah. You you said uh Rihanna, an American artist. You know she's Caribbean, right?
Yeah, but I
Did you
mean,
know that
all
or
of her
no?
music is in English, and I mean,
Yeah,
she
yeah,
lived
yeah,
in
yeah.
America for longer than I feel like. How long did she live in Barbados before she came over to America? Because I knew that.
I don't. Okay, I was just making sure. I was just making sure you, because I feel like that's important to say. Because I think you're right. She did live here longer than she lived there, but I think that's important to say only because like it's sort of like the like Nicki and Trinidad thing.
Hmm.
It's like when she pops out and does a Machel song, people are like, who the fuck is this guy?" Even though Machel is a legend, type shit. So if there's anybody to do it, I think she could do it, and I agree with everything you said. Honestly, I do just think that a lot of the general American music listening public has a bias.
Hmm.
They have a bias towards us, and so while the words don't matter to people that just enjoy music, um, to the people that the labels are trying to reach and spend money with, um, a lot of times they're going to be biased towards people that tailor to them, I guess. But something else I noticed was I read something else on another article. This might just be speculative, but if it's true, I hope like I'm excited for it. It said coffee is supposed to be on this album too. Um, and I just wish Coffee's one of my favorite artists, and I just want more coffee music, honestly. Like the last song she put out was kind of butter. It was kind of bad. It was with Sam Smith and somebody else. It was not the best. Oh, I think it was Jesse Reyes. I ain't fuck with it. But her last album was really good. So if she's doing something with Rihanna, I'm hype. They said that potentially that Burna Boy Coffee song will never see the light of day. I got to send you the leak, but it's heat.